All right, welcome back to The Explainer. So, the group stages, officially history. Now we've hit the real deal, the razor-thin margins and absolutely massive stakes of the World Cup knockouts. It's June 29th, 2026, and look, the pressure across the globe is literally at a boiling point right now. Because in knockout football, you know how it goes. One tiny mistake, or one flash of pure tactical brilliance, and a nation's dream either survives or dies right there on the pitch. We've got an incredibly exciting slate lined up for you today, so let's just jump straight into the tactical breakdowns.
So here's what's on the docket today. We are breaking down 3 absolute blockbusters for you. First, Brazil taking on Japan. Then, we've got Germany facing off against Paraguay. And wrapping it all up, a massive heavyweight bout between the Netherlands and Morocco. 3 huge matches, absolutely zero room for error.
Okay, let's dive right into this first one, Brazil versus Japan.
And really the question on everyone's mind, setting the emotional stakes here, is can Japan actually pull off a repeat of their historic upset? This is classic stuff, right? The vengeful giant up against the confident underdog. Because remember, Japan isn't just cruising into this tournament unbeaten. They literally shocked the world by beating Brazil 3-2 in a friendly just last year in 2025. That psychological edge, it's huge. Sure, Brazil is going to be incredibly fired up to avenge that loss, but Japan steps onto the pitch today knowing they can make the giant bleed.
Looking at how these teams are going to line up, Brazil just boasts this ridiculously deep pool of technically gifted players. I mean, we're talking Alisson in goal, Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes anchoring the midfield, and a front line that is honestly terrifying. On the other side, Japan might not have that raw individual superstar power that Brazil constantly churns out, but man, do they make up for it. They bring an unbelievable work rate and this airtight team cohesion that's completely driven by their midfield engines.
Now, if Brazil is going to dominate this match, it all starts with this guy, Vinícius Júnior. He is, without a doubt, the ultimate one-on-one threat. Get him in open space, and he's arguably the most dangerous player on the planet right now. He's got that explosive pace, he cuts inside to create out of nothing, and he's riding the momentum of back-to-back seasons hitting over 20 goals and 15 assists for Real Madrid. Just phenomenal form.
And honestly, this number tells you everything you need to know about why defenders have nightmares about him. 99th. Vinícius Júnior consistently ranks in the 99th percentile globally for progressive carries and successful take-ons. That means if Japan gives him even a fraction of an inch of breathing room on that left flank, he's going to take a mile and he will punish them relentlessly for it.
But hey, as we all know, knockout football is so often decided in the final 20 minutes, right? Just look at the absolute cavalry both of these managers have waiting in the wings. Brazil can just casually toss on Neymar, Gabriel Martinelli, or the young phenom Endrick. It's almost unfair depth. For Japan, though, you really need to keep your eyes on Takefusa Kubo. He's their main chance creator and actually leads the squad in expected assists. Thanks to his low center of gravity and his knack for slipping these perfectly weighted passes through tight defensive blocks, he is basically the ultimate late-game impact sub.
And this brilliantly illustrates the tactical chess match we're about to see unfold. For Brazil, their main path to victory is using all that individual skill to break lines, while their biggest threat is getting caught out in transition. For Japan, the blueprint is essentially a copy-paste of what worked in 2025. Rely heavily on the strength of their tactical discipline, sit tight, and then ruthlessly exploit any defensive lapses from Brazil on the counterattack.
All right, moving straight on to match number 2, Germany versus Paraguay. This one is a brilliant stylistic clash. European efficiency taking on South American grit.
The massive narrative hanging over this game really comes down to this. Was Germany's group stage loss to Ecuador just a random blip on the radar? Because they looked great with strong wins against Curaçao and Ivory Coast. But then, boom, a totally surprising defeat. And Paraguay? They are exactly the kind of tough, resilient squad that will constantly probe that German setup, just waiting to capitalize on any lingering doubts or shaky confidence in the German camp.
Let's see how these two sides are shaping up. For the Germans, you've got a squad custom-built for tactical efficiency and total midfield control. You're looking at guys like Joshua Kimmich, Florian Wirtz, and Kai Havertz pulling the strings. Meanwhile, Paraguay's 11, they are built like a brick wall, a really tough, resilient defensive block anchored by Balbuena and Alonso that is incredibly frustrating to break down. Journey is absolutely going to have to dictate the tempo today and honestly just be super patient when they have the ball.
Now, the key player clash that could totally define this entire match is Jamal Musiala going head-to-head with Miguel Almirón. Musiala brings this insane, almost Bambi-like agility into those highly congested central areas. I mean, he's averaging over 3.5 successful take-ons per 90 minutes. He is the skeleton key to unlocking that tight Paraguayan block. On the flip side, Almirón is Paraguay's absolute go-to attacking outlet. He relies on these incredibly direct, driving runs down the right flank before cutting inside to cause chaos.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the number 11. That represents the frankly immense work rate of Miguel Almirón, who routinely covers over 11 kilometers every single match. You really need to keep your eyes on his engine today. If Paraguay is going to pull off a historic upset here, Almirón's tireless running to spark shot-creating actions is going to be right at the absolute center of it.
Of course, if Germany hits a wall and just can't seem to break down that stubborn Paraguayan defense, they've got some massive safety nets in reserve. Looking at their 26-man squad, they can easily call upon the sheer experience of Ilkay Gundogan to settle the midfield, or if they want to completely change the dynamic inside the penalty box, they can just throw on Niklas Füllkrug to act as a traditional physical target man.
So how does this tactical battle actually play out? Well, looking at Germany's win conditions, they absolutely have to play to their strengths, control the tempo, be patient, and desperately avoid any lazy defensive lapses. For Paraguay, their biggest opportunity is pretty straightforward. Even if it's hard to execute, they need a flawless defensive block, and they have to be absolutely clinical whenever they get a chance to counterattack.
Okay, bringing us to our final matchup of the day, the Netherlands taking on Morocco. Make absolutely no mistake, folks, this is the clash of the unbeaten.
And the huge question we have to ask right off the bat is, who blinks first in this zero-margin battle? Both of these squads cruise through their groups unbeaten, both picking up 7 points. The Netherlands are bringing their classic, free-flowing, possession-based attacking style, but Morocco has this incredibly capable, tactically astute setup that is so hard to crack. The margins here are going to be extraordinarily thin, maybe the tightest of the whole day.
Walking through these star-studded starting 11s, it's just a magnificent clash of strengths. Look at that Dutch midfield. It is absolutely stacked with technical excellence. You've got Frenkie de Jong, Ryan Gravenberch, Tijani Reinders, all looking to completely suffocate the game through possession. But then you look at Morocco's setup. They are ridiculously well-organized at the back with Yassine Bounou in goal, while still fielding these dangerous, lightning-quick attackers who are just waiting to spring forward totally against the run of play.
A massive part of the Dutch strategy rests on the broad shoulders of this man, Virgil van Dijk. He is the ultimate defensive anchor. We all know about his unmatched aerial dominance and pure physical strength, but what makes him so unbelievably vital to their possession game is his elite ability to organize the backline and launch these sweeping, pinpoint diagonal passes that just instantly switch the point of attack.
And his total dominance on the pitch? It is perfectly captured by this staggering stat, 75%. Van Dijk commands a duel win rate that often exceeds 75%. Think about that. It tells you exactly why he's one of the absolute hardest defenders in the entire world to dribble past or beat in the air. Morocco's attackers are going to have to find some incredibly clever, outside-the-box ways to bypass him today.
But hey, Morocco absolutely has the tools to do just that through their own attacking talismans. Keep a close eye on Achraf Hakimi. The guy has blistering pace, makes these explosive overlapping runs, and actually ranks in the top 1% of fullbacks globally for touches inside the opposition's penalty area. And pairing up with him is Brahim Díaz. With his insanely tight, two-footed ball control, he just thrives operating right in those little pockets of space between the lines, leading his team in progressive passes received.
So, the crucial point is how these distinct tactical profiles are going to collide today. For the Netherlands, they simply have to convert their massive possession advantage into actual goals, all while staying totally vigilant against those quick counters. For Morocco, the blueprint is defensive solidity. Frustrate the Dutch passing rhythm, and then ruthlessly exploit those empty spaces left behind the moment the Netherlands pushes too many men forward.
Which all leads us to our final provocative question. Which giant is going to fall in the knockout stage today? Knockout football is just gloriously unpredictable, and the pressure on these players is frankly unimaginable. With a super resilient Japan, a totally gritty Paraguay, and a flawless Morocco all hunting for major upsets against traditional heavyweights, the margins for error are basically non-existent. Well, you are now fully armed with all the tactical knowledge you need to dive into today's action. Thanks for hanging out and learning with us, and enjoy the matches.